Hello. Have you ever wondered what it must feel like for a caterpillar when it's on its way to become a butterfly? It has to wonder if it will ever rise from the mess and become something magnificent. Then there comes that moment in time where all gravity works in its favor and the beautiful butterfly emerges and takes flight. The process for moving along inch by inch is messy and difficult. But great changes are worth it, right? This quote kept me steady when I went back to the university, being a single mom with 6 kids. It was terrible, actually, and a bit wonderful. Along the way, I noticed that other women needed some encouragement. And I started saying simple things like, I see you. I just noticed how you facilitated that conversation, and it was excellent. You just brought collaboration. Do you know that you just brought consensus? You are a great leader. You listened, and that's when the whole meeting shifted. You should run for office someday. But being an elected official is actually difficult and really hard, even at the local level. I've been serving on my local board, school board, for the last 10 years. Survived a few elections, re-elections, passed a bond after it failed once. But this past year was one of the worst years of my leadership journey. Difficult, right? COVID-19. How can I keep leading? It seems like this is the worst time in history to be an elected official. On May 16th, 2020, we received a phone call that no parent ever wants to hear. Your son has cancer. It's a football-sized mass. He's receiving radiation as we speak. My 25-year-old son has cancer. COVID-19 was already wreaking havoc on my leadership confidence. Hunter's cancer felt like a final blow. We could not see him in the hospital. My baby boy was fighting for his life on a ventilator, and I couldn't touch him or tell him that I loved him. This was happening to people all over the planet, right? People were being born, people were passing, people were suffering, and we couldn't touch them. I got as close to the hospital as I could, and I kept thinking, I can get in. I can find a way to get in. At one point, one of my sons, who remains unnamed, got into the hospital to see Hunter. The next day, the nurse graciously asked for no more shenanigans from the French family. She assured me that Hunter knew how much we loved him and she would take great care of him, and she comforted me and cared for my son. I want to pause for just a minute and thank our healthcare workers. You've carried a load that some of us will never understand. I honor you and I thank you. On the days that followed, I started to question everything. How can I manage? How can I lead a school district? Govern. There's a big difference. That's another TED Talk. How can I do it? How can I manage in crisis? My heart hurts. This is too much. I need to see my boy. At a restaurant close to the hospital, I saw this beautiful piece and thought, the piece that's on the screen, and thought, if he lives, I'm going to gather all of my kids, and now I have 10. We're going to all get together, and we're going to make this beautiful piece, and it's going to be so much fun. Well, I'm thankful to say and report that Hunter made it. Hunter beat cancer. And I decided it was me that needed to start creating again. It was me that needed to find a way to process the big emotions that I have regarding women in leadership and how can we do it and how can I manage and how can I do all these things. It was me. So this piece behind me symbolizes that journey of learning to lead lightly with confidence like a butterfly. It also serves as a tribute to Dr. Bertina Combs, a mentor that passed away in COVID. How can we lead with the butterfly in mind? I have a few ideas. The butterfly cannot carry the weight of the world. Women, you need to ask for help. Butterflies stand out. Women, don't be afraid to take up all the space that you want to in a room. You are not too big, you're not too loud, you're not too bossy, and you're not too assertive. You are just right. Butterflies are also not concerned with other gardens. Be confident and wise. You've done all the work that you need. You can make great decisions. Trust in yourself. Butterflies have the broadest visual spectrum of any known animal. They can see colors we cannot see. Trust your eyes. You see things differently as a woman. This is probably the most beautiful thing that we have, our perspective. Don't apologize for having a different view. Normal wasn't working. We need a new perspective. Can there be a new normal? I'd like to challenge this idea of blooming where we're planted and move past that to lead where we're living. It's not okay just to have a seat at the table or be the pretty face in the room. Blooming isn't enough. We need to lead where we're living. If we want more women in higher levels of office, we need more women in local levels. Currently, there are around 7,000 school board members in the state of Texas, and only 20% are women. Women tend to need to be tapped before they can become a leader. I see you, you should run for office. Did you ever see that? Did you ever know that you could be a leader? That tapping. The world is not looking for perfect leaders. Imperfect women can make excellent decisions. People are tired and hurting, and this world seems really heavy right now. We need to be as gracious as possible and love as deeply as possible. We need to consider not returning to normal. Arundhati Roy speaks of the pandemic as a portal, a new way, an opportunity to start over, to carry less hate, to carry less weight. She urges us to think about things differently, a new perspective, hard work and difficult work. Perhaps we lead a bit more lightly with a bit more grace. Currently, there are 5.5 million Texas school children. They're a small part of our population, but they're our entire future. They're looking for us to lead. They're looking for our best efforts. You play an important role in this change. Normal was not working. Let's work together and create the change together. Will you create that change with me? Thank you.